Welcome to the NOVAHOOPCAST. We're here live at Forest Park High School in Prince William County. Good to be down here in Prince William. We've covered this area for a long time. We don't get down here as much as we would like.
And we need to give respect to this area because a lot of good basketball being down here. And another event that Brad and I work on, the Nova Challenge. We love the energy that the Prince William team always brings
Absolutely.
to the Nova Challenge. They always bring a lot of fans. They bring great basketball. And I think they might be undefeated in Nova Challenge. So it's good to be down here and talk to Coach Mack. So that was a lot of fun.
So before we get into it, we did speak with Coach Mack from Forest Park earlier this morning. So let's go ahead and roll that tape, Buster. Welcome to the NOVAHOOPCAST. We're here at Forest Park High School with Coach Mack Dogbatse.
Yes.
In his fifth season as a head coach here at Forest Park, Coach Mack as he's known. Coach, you guys in the Cardinal District, Potomac's up top, obviously still undefeated at 8-0. Right behind them is Freedom at 6-2, and you guys are at 5-3. But it's worth noting you got two losses, close losses to Potomac, 6 and 8-point losses, a 3-point loss to Freedom. You've got Freedom coming up this week.
Yes.
Not to diminish any of the other teams in the league, but it seems to be, again, Potomac and Freedom, and you guys kind of knocking on the door right behind those guys. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes, a very accurate assessment about our district. We played some tough games in our district, and Potomac is a very tough team. We played them tough the past 2 years, and it's always been a close game between us when we play, and it's always exciting for our kids when we play them.
Coach, thank you for inviting us. This is my first time at Forest Park High School. Appreciate the hospitality. For the people who don't know about Forest Park, tell us a little bit about your team this year. Who are some of your go-to guys and what kind of season you've been having?
We've been having an up and down season, a couple close losses, a couple big wins, and right now our go-to player is we have Daryl Garrett, who's a senior this year, Brandon Daniels, who's also a senior, who's been a good outside shooter for us, and Kevin Johnson, who's our junior point guard, who basically puts us in the right position in our offense. And we come off with another senior, Diego Cobb, who is basically our go-getter, defensive player, rebounder for us. And we ask a lot of things from our kids. And the thing we struggle with at times is coming off the bench. We're pretty young, coming off the bench, a lot of sophomores. So, but we're trying to put things together. And this will be a very big week for us this year with these next three games we have this week.
And we've heard that a lot about Prince William, it being a young, especially your district being young. I know Potomac's young. We talked earlier before the broadcast about Hilton. It sounds like everyone's kind of in the same spot this year.
Yes, everyone is in the same spot. We're playing a lot of young kids, a couple of sophomores. Hilton's leading scorers is a sophomore. You got Woodbridge, you got some freshmen who are playing for him. You got Freedom, who are also young too, with their main point guard being only a junior. Potomac, who's really young too, as sophomores and juniors, putting a lot of work for them. So it's going to be very exciting the next couple of years with our district and how young these kids are coming and when they develop and become very good teams. So it's going to be very tough in our district.
Coach, as Kevin mentioned, we're happy to be down here in Prince William County. We cover Prince William. We don't get down here as much as we would like. But basketball is big here in Prince William, and I know there's some really good venues. A Friday night home game at Forest Park or at Potomac. Can you talk a little bit about what the atmosphere is like in some of these gyms on a big Friday night game?
Oh, the atmosphere is always great, especially like last Friday we played Potomac at their place. It was a great atmosphere for our kids. Just to be on a Friday night playing Potomac, or either on a Friday night playing Hilton,
right.
and those are big atmosphere games for our kids. And you got Potomac is basically a staple mark of the county where they've won like 3 state championships.
Right.
And been to state tournaments and regionals, and so those type of atmosphere versus them is always big.
Awesome. Well, we're going to have some fun here too. We got some questions.
I'm going to start off first. First question: Duke or UNC, and why? Who would you pick?
I'll go with Duke.
Thank you.
I'll go with Duke because of the talent they have and those freshmen, the kids are playing. They have some big games. They're always well coached. But I'll go with Duke. But those games are always exciting to watch.
Duke. All right, that's the answer we were looking for. We're a Duke broadcast.
Okay.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
All right. My turn. We see Buster shaking his head back there when we're talking about Duke. He must be a Carolina guy back there. Hey, let's change sports. I know you played football at Elon.
Yeah.
So we got the Super Bowl coming up. Rams or Patriots?
I'm going to go with Patriots. I admire Tom Brady and what he's done over the years. I didn't start liking him.
All the right answers. I like it.
I didn't start liking him, but you got to mind what he's doing at his age and being able to take so many Super Bowls and been there, and those are great games to watch, especially when he's playing. And you got to cheer for him. And one of my former players is a big Patriots guy, Boston fan, so we'll cheer for him. And every time they win, I always text him, see how he's doing, and see how it goes. But I'm going with the Patriots.
That was the wrong answer, actually. It's going to be the Rams.
Chasing greatness is what we're all hoping for.
Yes.
But aren't we tired of seeing the Patriots year after year?
No, we're not.
Anyway.
All right, I have a question. Best place to eat? I'm not familiar with this area. Where's the go-to after a game? Where would you go? Where would you suggest we eat?
Best place to eat? Right here, Brothers, Encore, right up the road in Montclair.
Brothers, okay.
Yeah,
I think I may have eaten there once, like during an AAU tournament or something.
It's a great place, family owned. We know the owners. It's a great place to eat. We, as a coaching staff, you got Colgan, coaching staff goes there and eat. I've seen a couple of Hilton coaches over there eating.
Okay, so that's the spot.
It's like a family area, especially being close to Montclair in the neighborhoods. A lot of families go there and eat.
Good.
All right, here's my last question. As educators, this time of year, snow sometimes plays havoc with the basketball coach's schedule, but teachers and educators always enjoy a day off. What's a perfect snow day for you?
A perfect snow day for me is basically I wake up, we got a snow day, I'm home, relaxing. If we had a game, either watch some film, or me as a young person, I try to think myself, put on the PlayStation and playing some games, or just relaxing. Then if there's a basketball game on that night, watch it, or some type of sporting event, try to watch that. So
we're young too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No. What is this PlayStation you talking about?
Final question from me. What is it like here at Forest Park? You've been here a long time. Tell us about the community and the culture here and what it means to you.
Forest Park is like home to me. I'm here all the time. The community is great. We have supportive parents. The staff here, Mr. Martinez, who's our principal, Brian Park, who's our AD, who's also from Loudoun
County guy.
Loudoun County guy.
Stonebridge.
Very supportive. Talked to him all the time. I was able to communicate to him about everything. So I think it's a good support area for us with our staff, the community, and the parents. And we're just trying to, as Forest Park, we're trying to build a culture, trying to be a place where basketball is very exciting to come to games.
Excellent. Coach Mack from Forest Park, hey, thanks so much for having us out here. I know you got a big week coming up. You're in that third place spot, looking to move up a little bit. So thanks again and good luck this week.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Good luck, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, once again, we're live here at Forest Park High School in Prince William County. Had a nice conversation with Coach Mack. Nice guy. I think they're knocking on the door, like I said during the interview, and they've got a big week coming up. They do face Freedom this week.
Not only are they knocking on the door, they're really close to opening it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've played Potomac really close twice. They did lose to Freedom as well for their third district loss, and that was a 3-point game that got them this week. So, we talk a lot about districts having parity, and in this district here, they definitely have a shot. They could knock off Freedom, they could knock off Potomac, they could win it all.
Yeah. So they're not just knocking on the door, they've turned the doorknob.
Yeah.
All right.
Let it go.
We'll leave it at that. Okay. Hey, let's update some things that have happened, and the season flies by. I mean, we're basically in the last 2 weeks of the regular season, and so there is some separation in some leagues. So let's kind of take a look. National District over in Fairfax and Arlington, Wakefield defeats Marshall. So
huge
now
game.
they're tied, and I think it's going to remain that way. I mean, they're the class of that league again.
I don't see anyone beating either one of those teams. So the question is, who's got home court
advantage? Who's going to get the number one seed
for the district tournament?
So you go down all the tiebreakers, and I'm not sure where it's going to.
Common opponents. That's something we need to get information on, but that'll be huge because if you're Marshall, you're playing in your small gym with your big crowd. And we know how hard it is to play Wakefield. That community always comes to support. So I would give the advantage to whoever gets home court, for that district championship to that team, to the home team.
Yeah, and we did look into it a little bit, and there could be some sort of PowerPoint that comes into play. There could be a coin toss. I think from our conversations, people seem to think Wakefield might have the upper hand in tiebreakers, but I mean, how crucial is that going to be? What if it comes down to a coin toss, to host between those two teams? That can make the difference right there.
It's fun, and we always talk about that's sort of been the test for both teams.
Right.
Wakefield, George C. Marshall all year.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the Liberty. McLean, I think I asked a question last week or the week before, could McLean catch South Lakes? Well, they beat South Lakes. They did defeat South Lakes. They're 6-0, so a huge week for McLean to beat South Lakes, and then they had a win over their rival Langley in their Rotary Cup game. So they're in the driver's seat in Liberty.
They are. Congratulations to Matthias Prock, who scored his 1,000th point. I know we gave some shout-outs last week, but he hit that milestone. And they're playing very, very well. And I know they beat Langley in what's considered a big rivalry, an old rivalry that you know very well. But that's never an easy game. I think rivalries are fun that way. So they're doing what I think a lot of people thought they could do at the beginning of the season. They're getting better.
In the Concord, Centerville still in control in that league, although their win streak came to an end with a non-district loss to Annandale. And then they followed that up with a win over Westfield. But they're in the driver's seat there. But again, as we've talked about previously, in that league, the bottom of that league is Westfield, and Westfield can beat anybody.
And Westfield won a state title a couple years ago. It's amazing to say that they're at the bottom. Right,
they can beat anybody, and we know Oakton can win games in that league, and Chantilly, and right up and down the line in the Concord. So Centerville's still in control in that league, but we'll see what happens. That's going to be a great tournament, I think. How about over in the Gunston? West Potomac, 3-0. Only 3 games in their district so far.
Yeah, that's a small district. There's 5 teams in that district, so they're only going to play a certain amount of games, but still playing very, very well. I think probably the best team in North Virginia. I know Lake Braddock's very, very good, and we've talked about Patriot a lot, but that's a stacked team, and they kind of fill all the boxes. They got a big center, they got a good guard, they've got a good post player in Shannon Hannigan, who plays hard. They've got Jack Fricka can score out on the wing. They've got a lot of the pieces. Right.
So TC is 4-1, and West Potomac just beat TC by 10. They've still got a number of games left in district play. I think you're right. They're the class of that league. But TC and Hayfield are right there and are certainly capable of beating them as well. So there's a look at some of the happenings in Fairfax.
Let me throw one out there. Falls Church beating Edison. We talked about Falls Church. They're dangerous. They can beat teams. And they just got really, really close. And they finally beat a good Edison team. Gerard Clausen, a great junior for Edison, scored 36 points in the Virginia Preps Classic on Saturday. So obviously he can play. But Falls Church getting a good win. Congratulations to them.
And the Patriot, Lake Braddock still undefeated, still putting up big points. Some teams have slowed them down a little bit in terms of scoring, but in league play. Now they did have 197, I think, over South County.
That's a good win, but what about them scoring 122 points? Against West Springfield. How do you do that? That's just. I'd love to see that, and I haven't seen. I know you've seen them play this year. I haven't seen them play, but that's a lot of points put on.
Well, I'll see them up close and personal on Tuesday night, so we'll see what happens there. So there's a look at Fairfax. Now we're down here at Prince William County. Again, we had an opportunity to speak to Coach Mack earlier and got a little bit of his thoughts on Prince William. Patriot still undefeated in the Cedar Run, 5-0. They had a 10-point win over Osborne, 11 over Battlefield. Interesting thing about Patriot is, as well as they're playing, as highly regarded as they are, justifiably, they don't tend to blow a lot of teams out. No. In that league, I don't think that league is as strong. I think it's really competitive. I don't think it's as strong as maybe it was a year ago. But I also think anyone in that league is capable on a good night of beating anybody else.
And we talked last week about Stonewall Jackson kind of lurking in the background there, and they had a good win this week over Osborne. Got a lot of kids who can play. So all year we talk about the Patriot District. We talk about the Cedar Run as being the most competitive districts, and that continues to be the case.
Yeah, so Cardinal, like we talked about with Coach Mack, Potomac at 8-0, followed by Freedom in Forest Park. The Potomac Freedom game is on Tuesday, and later in the week, is Forest Park
and Freedom. So Freedom's got a huge week.
Freedom
As
has
the
a
second
huge
place
week.
team, they've got to play the first place team, and they've got to beat the third place team in order to stay up in that pack.
Right.
So Freedom, winners of 7 in a row, playing very, very well and can get it done.
Right. Let's jump over to Loudoun County. Kevin, my headline in Loudoun was Down Goes Valley.
Down goes Valley. And for those who don't know, it is a big deal because Valley has not lost a district game in I don't know how many seasons. They really have controlled the Dulles district. And they lose at home on a Friday night in front of a good crowd against Loudoun County. And Loudoun County has 2 very good scorers, and Matt Anderson is a junior, and also Coach Alexander's son scoring really well for them as well. So that was a big game for Loudoun County. They're 4-4 in the district, but you beat the #1 undefeated team at their place on a Friday and give them their first district loss. Big news out in Loudoun County.
Yeah, and in a weird scheduling quirk, Valley, didn't they play back-to-back games against Riverside where you were?
Yeah, they played Riverside on a Friday night and then a Tuesday night, and that had to do with scheduling that they requested based on a Christmas tournament they were going to.
So back-to-back wins over Riverside, and then they play County and go down in the County. Is that an old rivalry?
That is. That's probably one of the oldest.
Valley.
I mean, when there was 4 high schools, it was County Valley, Broad Run, Parkview, and a big win for Loudoun County. And it just goes to show the parity in that district. 1 through 6, anyone can beat anybody, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we talk about the next 2 weeks. Very important in that district. Very important in the district here. That Forest Park's in. So everyone, every game counts.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think Valley is still clearly in the driver's seat as far as regular season goes, but like you just mentioned, I think when playoff time rolls around that league, they can be beaten, and there's any number of teams that can come out of that district. Potomac District, Potomac Falls still a class of that league. They are undefeated. I think I said last week, I'm not sure if teams would go undefeated. There's too much good coaching, good players.
You mentioned Patriot beating people and not really beating them by that much. Yeah. By and large, Potomac Falls is not beating teams, though they've had some big wins, 20-point wins over district opponents, but a lot of their games are close.
Right.
And anyone in that district, just like we said about the Dulles, can, in playoff time, knock off Pot Falls.
Yeah, they've got a commanding lead. They've got left in regular season play. They've got Stonebridge, Rockridge, and Tuskegee. And we talked about Stonebridge a lot. And you said they seem to be playing a little bit better.
They are playing better. They had a good win over second place Briarwoods, significant win. They do play Pot Falls this Friday at Pot Falls, so it's a big game for both teams. But our list last week of the most dangerous teams, Stonebridge is at the top because they've got a D1 guard and they've got the kids who can shoot, so they're never out of the game.
Right. And Kevin, you and I know from our coaching background, it's really all about how you're playing when February rolls around. Are you playing your best? Let me ask you, from your coaching standpoint, what things would you do differently, like in practice or as you're going the second time around, you kind of got your eyes on postseason play? What kind of tweaks do you make as a coach?
I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is we practice less. You're trying to save legs. You're trying to save really their energy, both mentally and physically, for the end of the year. You don't need to practice, in my mind, for 2 full hours. Maybe there's a day after like a good win and you want to show them that, hey, we're not done, and you kind of go after them and you make it a good 2-hour practice. But I'd say consistently, I would say shortening practice. As far as looking at other teams, you've got so much tape. I mean, everyone shares stuff on Huddle now, so you probably have more tape than you need, but you're going to have an idea of what their personnel is and how you're going to play it, and you should have a very, very good game plan. And we talked many times on the shows, nobody should be surprising you in the district. So maybe you tried something the first time against a team that you're going to do differently. Maybe you've heard from other coaches that you got to run zone against them because they really don't have shooters, or you got to press them late in the fourth because they don't have a good bench. Whatever it is, you should have all the information that you need. But I think what's most important is where is your team, because we know that teams sometimes get better at this time of the year and sometimes they get worse, okay? So, I think it's really important for you to know your team and know where you should be focused in that last part.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many cliches out there. It's a marathon, not a sprint, or it's a grind, but it really is. And so you've got to really be in touch with your team and know kind of where they are physically and mentally, and when you need to push hard and when you need to pull back a little bit, and keeping them fresh so they can peak for playoff time.
And I, the more I coached, the more I thought we don't need to practice every day. We don't need to practice for 2 hours. I think it's a grind for these kids. They're going to school all day. They've been playing basketball all year.
Right.
Where are they mentally? Making sure they're focused. Make sure they're having fun, because that's part of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think kids forget that sometimes these days. And whether you're talking team meals, whether you're talking take a day off for practice, things like that. So it's a fun time of year. We're going down the home stretch, headed towards playoff time. Any other issues we could take a look at? I know we talked about some beforehand.
I think going into this next week, we're really going to be looking at how close people are in terms of the standings and playoffs. I think that's the most fun part of the year for me. I think getting started and seeing what teams are all about, but really playoff time is really going to be fun for us to talk about next time. So we talked about shot clock last time, got a lot of good feedback about that, but right now, it's really playoffs, and then I think we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of AAU. We always talk about AAU at this time of the year. I know teams are having AAU tryouts, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Before the season ends, that was always something you didn't do till after the season ends, so maybe we can talk about that as well.
We can talk about that, and we can also talk about, I mentioned this to you beforehand, all coaches wear warm-ups on the bench now. What happened? What happened to wearing a nice shirt and tie, blazer? I know Buster likes to dress up for games. I'm a little old school.
I think you're in the minority now if you wear a tie.
Yeah.
I really do. I think some of the old school coaches, and Loudon will, but a lot of them are being comfortable. And it's not just a home game or an away game, it's every game.
Yeah.
And it used to be like, okay, we're playing Christmas, we have an early morning game, we're going to wear sweatsuits. No, it's pretty much, pullovers, or button-down shirts, or whatever it is. They're staying comfortable.
Right. All right. These young guys.
These young folk.
All right. Hey, we thank Coach Mack for having us out here at Forest Park, and a good look around the area. And we're looking forward to wrapping up the regular season within the next week or two, and getting ready for playoff time.
Thanks, Buster. See you guys next time.